One of the most peculiar and most inevitable aspects of spiritual growth is discovering that you are changing in ways the people around you do not understand. This creates a strange reality. While still surrounded by other caterpillars who are perfectly comfortable being what they have always been.
I want to talk about this because almost everyone who begins to mature spiritually goes through something like it.
And it can become one of the most isolating, confusing, and yes, dangerous experiences on the journey.
Not dangerous because of any physical harm,
but because you may lose what once gave you belonging, identity, or security.
The first thing we need to understand is that growth is never comfortable. It never has been.
When a creature outgrows its old shell, it must shed it and expose itself, fragile, vulnerable, without the protection it once had.
during that process, it is at risk.
But if it refuses to let go of the old, it will never become what it was designed to be. Human beings experience something similar.
As God works in us, we begin to leave behind thoughts,
Attitudes and ways of seeing life that no longer fit. And when that happens, we are exposed as well.
We lose the security of approval, the comfort of fitting in, the sense of being like everyone else.
That is the danger I want to talk about. Outgrowing the people around you doesn't mean thinking you're superior.
When you begin to wake up spiritually, to see life more clearly, to discern what you once overlooked,
you may realize that the people around you are still on a previous level.
but this does not mean you are better than they are.
That is one of the most common traps of growth, confusing clarity with pride.
Outgrowing others doesn't mean elevating yourself above them, but simply having begun to see things they have not yet perceived.
Maybe you've started questioning what everyone else considers normal.
Purposeless careers, empty searches for approval, obsession with appearances, excessive need to belong.
Or maybe you've had internal experiences, deep reflections, moments of silence, seasons of crisis, personal encounters with God that have made you rethink what most people take for granted. You've seen that life goes far beyond the material, far beyond achievements, far beyond the noise. And you cannot unsee what you've seen. Living between two worlds. When that happens, you find yourself living in two worlds at the same time.
There is the everyday world, where everyone seems to be running after the same things. Routines, goals, responsibilities.
And then there is that other, deeper, quieter spiritual dimension where you perceive things you once overlooked. Real motivations, intentions, emptiness, inner callings.
Subtle directions God places in the heart.
And now you have to learn to move in both.
To speak two languages, the practical language of everyday life and the language of the soul. You are in the world, but no longer entirely of this world.
And although that sounds beautiful, it is extremely difficult because both worlds operate with different rules.
And you no longer fit perfectly in either one. If this message is speaking to you and you want to receive more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe to the Faith Unmasked channel.
Distancing is inevitable.
The people around you, family, friends, co-workers, continue operating from the same priorities as always. They care about their projects, their image, their aspirations, what others will say, the usual plans.
But now, what once felt urgent no longer feels important. It's not indifference, it's perspective.
You've seen that there are deeper, more real, more essential things. The problem is that you can't sit down and explain all of this to them. You can't arrive at the table and say, I think I'm changing spiritually and I no longer see life the way I used to. They would look at you strangely. They'd think you're exaggerating, overthinking, or going through some odd phase.
So you stay silent. You drop small hints.
You look for people who can understand you. And that is the beginning of loneliness. The people you've loved for years begin to feel you're different. They can't explain why, but they sense it.
You're no longer playing the same game. You no longer react the same way. You're no longer seeking the same things.
And that makes them uncomfortable, because your change reveals without words that they haven't changed.
When others feel like you've outgrown them. Change awakens different reactions. Some will try to pull you back.
They'll want you to be who you were before. You've changed, they'll say, and it won't be a compliment.
You have changed.
They'll see you as strange, distant, confused. They'll try to remind you of your obligations, your role, your normality.
Others will simply drift away. You'll seem deep, boring, strange, intense, or hard to understand. Conversations that once felt natural now feel empty.
There was no argument, just a disconnection. Others may become defensive, especially if your growth challenges beliefs, rhythms, or lifestyles they never questioned. Because your clarity confronts them, even if you say nothing. And there lies the danger. The possibility of losing community, support, companionship, spaces where you once felt belonging. Christians know that the soul was created for fellowship. We were not designed to walk alone.